Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Don't fail, ask me kill. Don't forget at the end of the video, subscribe and hit like and share. Thank you. So today we're gonna talk about the inverse trig, sine, cosine, or tangent. Allow me to share my screen to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, all right. Before I do this, let's talk about sine, cosine, and tangent trig. Something very important you have to be aware of. When you see sine negative 1x, that means exactly I'm looking for the angle theta, missing angle. And this is not the same. This is not the same. Let me highlight this one. Extremely important. It's not the same as what? A sine x to the negative 1. Because sine x to the negative 1, this one over here, that will equal to the cosecant. So these are not the same. So when you're looking for an angle, when you're looking for theta, we do sine negative 1. If you're looking for the inverse trig, that's a sine negative 1. If you're looking for the reciprocal, so that is what? Sine negative 1. Because this is very much is 1 over sine x, which is equal to cosecant. But this is equal to theta, which is equal to sine negative 1x. Also, sine negative 1x or cosine or tangent, sometimes it's written as arc sine. So when you see the word arc sine, it's the same as what? Sine negative 1. These both are the same. Remember, you always have to go back to this unit circle. All right? And remember also that every angle in a unit circle is written in terms of cosine and sine. You remember, everything is positive here. Here the cosine is negative, the sine is positive. Everything is negative, and here the cosine is positive, the sine is negative. Also remember, if you want to talk about tangent always equal to sine divided by cosine. And because sine divided by cosine, the first quadrant we have positive divided by positive, so the tangent is going to be excellent. It's going to be positive as well. Positive divided by positive, the tangent is positive. How about here? That's positive divided by negative, tangent is negative. Third one, that's negative over negative, which is going to be positive, and he's going to be negative. So that's tangent, and that's the cosine sine. We're going to have to go back to this. Example. Sine negative 1 to radical 3 over 2. So now I'm looking for the angle. Which angle, the sine equal to radical 3 over 2. If I come back here, radical 3 over 2, no, that's a cosine sine for this angle here. You see this flashlight? Cosine, sine. Sine, cosine, sine. Oh, okay. So that means angle 60, that is sine equal to radical 3 over 2. What else? Radical 3 over 2, sine is positive. Sine is negative here. Sine is negative here. Sine is positive second. The fourth quadrant, sine is negative. So go back to the problem. Because this is a positive 1, so I have a choice of the first or the second, such that sine is positive, and the second and first. The first and the second quadrant, the sine is positive. Which angle had a positive radical 3 over 2 for the sine? Angle 60. So the angle here either 60 or exactly 120. Okay? So theta equals to either 60 degrees or 120 degrees. Now, talking about tangent, next problem. Well, I know the tangent always equal to sine divided by cosine. And you should know, because of negative 1, it has to do which angle? Excellent. Radical 45 has to do with 1. you have to remember a couple of things, folks. You have to remember that 30 and 60 have to do with two numbers, 1/2 and radical 3 over 2. That is 30 and 60. 45 always deal with radical 2 or deal with number 1, such that sine 45 equal to radical 2 over 2. Cosine 45 equal to radical 2 over 2. And tangent equals sine divided by cosine. So this divided by itself give you a 1. So whenever you see 1, that means has to do with what? With 45. Let's go back here. What is tangent negative? Tangent is negative at the second and let me highlight it. Second and fourth. So the angle here, 45, and the second quadrant angle is 45 here. Remember, talk about 45, talk about reference. 45 and 45. So what is the angle here? Then theta will equal to exactly 135, which is the angle is negative, or, the angle is positive, but the tan is negative, -1, or 225. Oh, my apology. The tangent is negative on the third quadrant here. So it's either 135 or 315. So theta equal to 135 or 315. Okay? All right, let's move on. One more problem. Cosine -1 radical 2 over 2. Because I'm saying radical 2 over 2, this has to do with which angle? 45. Exactly. Every time you have radical 2, that means something to do with 45. Now, because I'm saying cosine and I'm saying also negative, now I have to look back to unit circle and check. Where is cosine negative? Well, go back to unit circle. Here is the unit circle. Cosine is negative on the second. The cosine is negative on the second and the third. Second and the third. Okay. So that means this one, the angle either theta equal 45. We're talking about 45. The reference has to be 45. That is 135. And the third cosine is negative, which is 225. So theta is 135 or 225 degrees. All right. Now this one, arc tan radical 3. So one of the things, you don't have to go always to back to the unit circle. If you know radical 3, you can draw the triangle. So let me draw the triangle. Very important to know how you draw the triangle. That's no good 30-60 triangle. That's a good 30-60 triangle. That is 90 degrees. And now that is 30, 60, 1, 2, radical 3. If I'm saying radical 3, that means it's radical 3 over 1. What do you know about tangent? TOA, you remember TOA? SOHCAHTOA? Tangent always equal to opposite over what? Adjacent. So that means this is the opposite, and this has to be what? Adjacent. Okay. So if this is the opposite, radical 3 is opposite of what angle? Radical 3 is opposite of this angle. So very much, if I'm saying arc tan radical 3 over 1, this part here is for the angle 60. That means I'm looking for an angle. The angle has to be what? That is the same as tan -1 of radical 3. It has to do with 60 degrees. Now, theta will equal to what? Which one has a 60 degrees in unit circle? Well, tan is positive. Positive and where? On the first and the third. So theta could be 60 degrees. Or also on the third, theta also could be what? Exactly 240 degrees. That's where tan is positive. All right? Now, last two examples. Cosine, sine, -1 of this. The first thing you have to do, folks, you have to check this first. What is the value of what I just highlighted here? Okay, 1 second, Mikhail. Let's think about it. That is sine, and the sine is radical 3/2. I remember, Mikhail, I don't want to go back, by the way, folks. I don't want to go back anymore to unit circle. But I told you to memorize sine 30 equals to half. So I remember sine 30 is half. So sine what will equal to radical 3/2 has to be exactly 60. Because if sine 30 is half, that means sine 60 is what? Radical 3/2. So now this angle, it could be, because it's negative. So it could be, it's a sine. Sine is negative on the on the third, positive negative, and fourth quadrant. My bad for that one. Sine is negative, or cosine negative in the first, and the fourth is positive and negative. So sine is negative here, and I'm saying this has to do with 60 degrees. So very much I'm saying, what is cosine? Third quadrant, 60 is 240. And also, that is the value of sine -4 radical 3/2. Or what's the value of cosine? That is on the fourth quadrant, that will be what? 300. So your answer will be cosine 240. Cosine 240 is the same as cosine 60. It's 1/2. And because it's 240 on the third quadrant, so it's what? Negative. Excellent. And cosine 300 also equal to 1/2. So because it's the fourth quadrant, on the fourth quadrant, the cosine is positive. So the answer is either -1/2 or what? Or 1/2. All right. So what I did here, I first had to calculate the value of this one here. After I calculate it, it has to do with angle 60. And because it's negative, so it has to do with third or fourth quadrant. That's where the sine is negative. So the angle for 60 is 240 and 300. I also know that cosine, my apology, I also know that sine 30 equal to 1/2, so this has to be 60. So I'm looking for cosine 60 now. Cosine 60 is the same as sine 30, half and -1/2. Now let's do this one, the last one. So I have to find the value of this part first, the one I'm about to highlight. I need to find the value of this. What is this? So I have cotangent of something. What is this? Oh, Mikhail, that's arc cosine. So I'm looking for the angle. So that has to be what? Well, remember, sine, let me get the pencil. Sine 30 equal to cosine 60, which is equal to half. I'm saying cosine that has to be what? Sine 30 is half, so that means cosine 30 is radical 3/2. So this angle here has to do with this, cosine 30. So it has to do with angle 30. Has to do with angle 30. And because it's negative, so cosine is negative, on which quadrant we say cosine is negative on the first, let me write it here, cosine is negative on the second, on the second and the third. So this value here is either I'm looking for cotangent. What is 30 on the second? Perfect, 150. So I'm looking for cotangent, 150. Cotangent, the cosine is negative on the third one, which is 210. So now, the cotangent of 150, I have to go back the triangle. This cotangent, that's 210 here, not 201, 210, all right? So if I do tangent is the same as cotangent in terms of sine. So the sine of cotangent on the second quadrant is negative. So the sign for cotangent on the third quadrant is positive. So 1, 2, radical 3, and we talk about angle what? 30. Cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Remember, tangent, let me erase this one, my apology, folks. So tangent equal to what? Opposite over adjacent. How about, so that's 1, 2, radical 3. So they're equal to opposite over adjacent 1 over radical 3, which is equal to radical 3 over 3. But how about cotangent? Cotangent 30 equal to adjacent over opposite, which is equal to radical 3 over 1. So that is adjacent over opposite. So we'll come back here. So my final answer, cotangent 150 equal to radical 3. And because it's in the second quadrant, it's a negative. And cotangent 210, it's in the fourth quadrant, so it's positive radical 3. And these are my two answers. How did I start this one? Let me recap it very quick. The first thing I did, I evaluated the value of arc cosine, radical 3 over 2. And arc cosine, I know that cosine 30 is radical 3 over 2 because it's negative, so it has to be either in the second and the fourth quadrant. The 30 on the second quadrant is 150. The 30 on the third quadrant is 210. So cotangent 150, if I come back here, I put cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So it will be radical 3. So it's radical 3, and because tangent and cotangent are negative on the second, so there will be tangent is negative here, same as cotangent is negative. So it will be negative radical 3 and positive radical 3. So what I just did now, that was a very quick review about how you do the inverse trig. I hope you guys understood this one. And again, don't fail asking Mikhail, and please don't forget to do what? Subscribe, hit the bell for more video, and share. You guys have a good day now. Take care. Bye-bye.